Earlier this hour, we talked about forecasts for businesses to increase their spending and payrolls. But can there be a sustainable recovery if small businesses aren't able to join in on that spending spree and that subsequent hiring? Bill Dunkelberg, a chief economist at the National Federation of Independent Businesses, joins us from Philadelphia. His group represents small businesses around the country. Dr. Dunk, welcome to the show. Let me ask you, first of all, about the survey, the NABE survey. I mean, they seem to be very positive about business spending, but why doesn't it carry through down to small businesses?
Well, I think one of the differences probably is the fact that most of the people who participated in the NABE survey work for or consult for very large firms. And, you know, profits have been pretty good. We've seen the stock market respond, and profits are a driver of capital spending. So on the big end, things aren't looking so bad. But for small businesses, we have many more firms reporting declining profits than raising profits. And, of course, we have record low percentages planning to make capital outlays and actually reporting them over the last 6 months.
All right, so what has to happen to turn that around? And, I mean, what has to happen for small businesses to catch up with their bigger brothers in corporate land?
Well, two things. One is some customers, so we have to have enough good news so that consumers start coming back and spending some more money. And the other thing, of course, is getting more good news out of Washington. It's been very depressing for the last year and a half to listen to all the things that Washington is planning on doing to the private sector. So, you know, it doesn't instill a lot of enthusiasm about committing money until you have some idea what the future is going to look like. So we noticed that after the Massachusetts election in the end of January, there was a significant increase in optimism about the economy amongst our members.
Bill, let me ask you, though, we had several guests who come on and talk about, you know, increased gridlock in D.C. and that that's going to be a good thing for both the economy and the markets. Do you see? You're laughing. I mean, isn't that kind of what's happening here?
Well, it is. And, you know, I think history tells us probably that when Congress and the White House are controlled by only one party, whichever party it is, crazier things happen than would normally happen. When you don't have gridlock and you have some balance of the power, then the things that we pass make more sense, and that's the problem that we have right now. I think the Democrats last year told the Republicans to go home. They'd take it from here. Now they can't do that. So we'll see if we can come to some better middle ground on some of these issues.
What's your outlook as far as jobs? Because I thought it was interesting in the last non-farm payrolls report, we got a decline for the non-farm payrolls survey, but the household survey showed an addition. And I was thinking maybe that's because they talked to more small businesses, more family businesses, but you don't seem too optimistic as far as job creation there.
Well, overall, the job creation numbers in January were not real optimistic. They were better. They've been improving for the last 6 months or so, but it's still pretty weak. And again, what we really need is to have some customers, because you can't hire somebody unless they can kind of earn their pay. And without more customers, we're not going to have that happen. So we're back on thinking about the stimulus. It should have been focused on consumers. That's 70% of the economy, and they really were kind of ignored in this whole stimulus thing.
Bill, bottom line, now, I'm looking at your report that, you know, we all read through today. The title of it is, though, the economic expansion is firmly on track. So that's pretty upbeat.
Well, that's from the NABE, and I think, you know, they are pretty optimistic from the big firm perspective. But they're, you know, still thinking that growth this year and next year is going to be a trend growth around 3. That's going to be pretty hard with the headwinds we have with financing a $1.3 or $4 trillion federal deficit while private credit demands come back. Right now, private credit demands are really weak, but if we try to build a normal number of houses and buy a normal number of cars and our small businesses start spending, we're going to collide with the federal government here in competition for the savings, and that's going to create a problem.
Let me just ask, Bill, what do you want to see come out of Washington? Because if you get more optimistic after the Massachusetts elections, more optimistic when there's gridlock, it doesn't seem like a lot could come out. And we only have about 20 seconds here, but what would you like to see for small businesses come out of the administration?
Well, I think the best thing that could happen would be some tax cuts and some things that would relieve the pressure about future regulation. Let's get rid of cap and trade for a while and these kinds of things and just make the economy healthier.
All right. Hey, thank you so much for joining us. William Dunkelberg there from the NFIB. We're going to take